Somebody told me recently that the sport of strongman didn't appear to involve much technique, and that it was much more about brute strength. I can understand this interpretation if you're on the outside looking in, but that myth can easily be busted by actually trying to tackle one of the cornerstone lifts of strongman, the log lift. To my friend's point, if you watch the athlete in the 1980 World's Strongest Man when the log lift was first introduced, their form was terrible. However, these logs were cut down and made from trees in a nearby forest that were neither balanced nor smooth. They didn't even bother to remove the bark. These athletes had never even seen this event before, much less had time to train for it. Check out the difference between the best log lifter of 1980, Bill Kazmaier, and the best from today and all time, Zydrunas Savickas or Big Z. Bill here is lifting 157 kilos or 346 pounds, and Big Z is lifting the current world record of 228 kilos or 502 pounds. I love this lift so much. It is great for building strength, power, coordination, and mental toughness. Now you might be thinking that this looks like a silly lift and that it would be much simpler to just lift with a barbell. And you'd be right. But the heart of strongman isn't about logic or reason. It's about showmanship, sportsmanship, insanity, heart, and as I will demonstrate in this video, skill. So today I'm going to break down the log lift into easy to follow steps that you can use no matter what experience level you're at. There's some basic equipment that I recommend to get the best out of your log lift, but if you're just getting started, it's not vital to buy a bunch of equipment just yet. The three most important pieces of equipment that I recommend are wrist wraps for wrist support and forearm cushioning against the log, a good belt for maximum intra-abdominal pressure and back support, and Olympic lifting shoes, which will help you balance the log over your center of mass and generate maximum leg drive without being too heel heavy. I also recommend elbow sleeves and knee sleeves for extra joint support. Again, these aren't vital for you to begin learning the lift, but can make a big difference as you become more advanced. For 10% off of Cerberus gear, use the promo code CYBERNETIC at cerberusstrength.us. Lastly, chalk your shirt just below your chest. This is where you will stick the log before rolling it up your chest. Or, if you're a gearhead like me, you can purchase a grip shirt for maximum friction to stick the log. But the world record was done without one, so you can go your whole life without using one and you'll be just fine. Okay, without further ado, let's perform the log lift. Step 1, the deadlift. I recommend lifting the log from a large tire unless you are working with enough weight to use bumper plates that will elevate the log enough to get your feet underneath. First, approach the log with your feet roughly the width of the handles or your squat stance if the handles are wider than you want your stance to be. Make sure your hands are right in the center of the handles. Then tilt the handles forward to about 45 degrees and make sure the log is snug against your legs. Then, similar to a conventional deadlift, get a big breath, preload, and push the ground away to deadlift the log. But since the log is so much larger, which brings your center of mass forward, make sure your weight is in your heels before deadlifting. Step 2, the clean, or as I like to call it, the stick and roll. I like to stand all the way up with the log and get a new breath for each clean. If you are prone to getting lightheaded right after the clean, this can help, although some prefer to go right into the clean immediately after deadlifting. Now squat down with your elbows high, keeping the log pulled in close to your belly and keeping the handles tilted forward. Once the middle of your log is at your upper belly, pull the log in tight, sticking it to your torso. This is where the chalk plays a huge role, as you don't want the log slipping on the way up. After you stick the log to your belly, start standing back up, then powerfully thrust your hips to propel the log up your torso, and finally punching up into the log with your elbows high. Do not try and muscle up the log with your arms. This is both ineffective and dangerous. Remember to always check these three boxes. Elbows high, stick the log, and I mean keep it glued to your belly, and powerful hip thrust. You should now be in this position, standing tall with your tail tucked, chest high, elbows high, head back, staring at the ceiling. Your success from this point on literally hangs in the balance. It is vital that you keep your elbows high and your weight balanced over your midfoot. The push press. In this video, I will be focusing on the push press since it is much more common across all levels and easier to learn than the push jerk. The push press is as simple as dip and drive. Simply dip into a quarter squat or less and quickly drive back up and press the log overhead. Again, more than anything else, you are fighting to stay balanced and stable, keeping your elbows high while creating that leg drive. When you dip down to get a push press, the log is going to want to pull you forward and force your elbows down. Keeping this from happening is more important than getting leg drive, since losing your balance guarantees a failed lift. Trust me. The best way to get better at the log lift is to practice the log lift. However, here are some great accessories to the log lift. Barbell or axle overhead work. To have a strong log lift, you need to be strong overhead, and I would work on the strict press without leg drive, push press, dip drive, and the push jerk, dip drive, dip. Close grip bench press. It is also vital to have strong triceps for the best log lift. And the close grip bench is the king of the tricep exercises. In fact, they are Big Z's tricep exercise of choice. Kettlebell swings. Learning how to propel a kettlebell up with powerful hip drive can translate well to the log lift. The log lift, just like many other events in strongman, can be very frustrating to learn and master. But if you take your time and just have fun with it, it will pay dividends to your physical strength and power and your mental toughness, and I recommend it to anyone who can get their hands on one. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, normal training is boring. If you want to be weird and train with purpose, come check out ironguild.com and join the guild.